It is a Monday, and one of the things, since I am a Monday hater, that makes Monday better is talking to our guy, Pep. Pep, what's going on?
Dude, I am right with you, man. I am not a fan of Mondays, but I am a fan of Game 7s, whether it's the World Series, the NBA Finals. We had Game 7 on Sunday night, which makes Monday morning a little bit more bearable. Came down to one final game to crown an NBA champion. Oklahoma City and the Indiana Pacers playing for the whole thing. One game to decide a champion, and it was the Thunder winning on their home floor in OKC by a final score of 103-91. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the NBA Finals MVP, the former LA Clipper, and I know that's probably hard to hear for Clipper fans out there, as OKC wins their first NBA championship in the Oklahoma City era, Patrick, and I know that doesn't exactly sit well with you.
Yeah, it does feel weird when they say the first championship was in 1979 because it feels like the Sonics are such a different team. Of course they are, but the young kids, I mean, they're such a young team. I mean, they were even having trouble opening the champagne bottles when they were doing the celebration. The kids are able to pull it off to where Harden and Durant and Westbrook couldn't do it. Yeah. The kids do it. I do feel bitter about the organization of Oklahoma City, but I can't hate on the players, man. They won their chip.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like you almost think you have to have some sort of a big veteran presence or guys who have been there before to win this, the championship, regardless of the sport, I would say. But yeah, to have these kids just kind of rise up and get it done was pretty impressive. And for the Pacers, I mean, they did not have Tyrese Halliburton. Of course, he was battling that calf injury. And then he goes down with an Achilles injury on the same leg, which I'm not a doctor. I just play one on the radio. But if you have a calf injury on the right side and then you have an Achilles injury, it's almost like something was compensating for the other and it was just working too hard, couldn't take it anymore. So, listen, if you're a Pacers fan, you're probably thinking, if we had Tyrese Halliburton at full strength, could this have ended differently? Maybe not, but, it's hard to say. But OKC is your champion this Monday morning.
And one thing I don't want to admit, of course, but I do like, is that finally kids take notes. OKC plays defense.
Yeah.
They're a great defensive team, so it was kind of nice to see actual defense rather than just outlet. You know what I mean? And just offense. Like an AAU game, it was nice to see some defense. And they got so many turnovers off of the Pacers, and they made them pay.
Yeah, 103-91, that sounds like a moderate NBA score. I'm a Kings fan. They had a playoff series against the Warriors a couple years ago, and it was like first one to 130 is going to win this. Like, it was just crazy. But, yeah, they actually play some defense, which is pretty impressive. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get back to, like, the, a 91-88 score, like back in the 90s or something like that. But it is awesome to see a team that cares so much about defense in a time where it feels like there is no defense in the NBA. Everyone just wants to score points and jack up three-point shots, but the Thunder really take pride on the defensive end, and it goes to show that defense can still win championships.
Yeah, so I like that part of it, I have to admit.
I do like that part too. So OKC is your NBA champion. But as we go ahead and start looking ahead to next season, as this one's, finally put the bow on this season, as we look ahead to next season, on Game 7 of the NBA Finals, we got the big news that Kevin Durant is going to be traded, man. I can't even keep track of how many teams this guy's been on now, but he's going to the Houston Rockets. And Patrick, you'll remember when we started the NBA playoffs, OKC was the number one seed in the West, but Houston was the second seed. Houston had a great regular season with a bunch of young guys, kind of like that model of what OKC is doing. And now they add Kevin Durant. So we'll see if this could put them over the hump to compete with Oklahoma City next season for the NBA title.
Yeah, I don't know how true it was either, but you see the video that's going around as well, where Durant finds out basically on stage that he's being traded to Houston. I don't know how true that is. It's kind of hard to believe that he wouldn't have any idea. I think he was just more surprised that it got out.
Yeah.
Rather than they're making it sound like he had no idea. Your agent kind of knows what's up. but I think he was kind of surprised. He is now a Rocket. How will this work out? I mean, you're right. They are a good team. Adding Durant can't be horrible. It does have a little bit of the Charles Barkley vibe for us 80s kids.
Yeah.
When, back in the 90s, he got traded to the Houston Rockets, where I think maybe it'll work out for a year or so, and then it'll kind of all come apart. That tends to be what happens when the old timer gets back in on a team like this.
Wait, didn't the Rockets get Scottie Pippen as well? Wasn't it that
Correct.
same time?
Right. I mean, the infamous play where Kobe shook Scottie Pippen. I mean, I believe that was against the Trailblazers, but you're right. They interchange like crazy. You forget the uniforms. There's a great, thing on Instagram where they show uniforms that don't look right, and they show like Patrick Ewing in the Sonics jersey. They show Scottie Pippen. We're not used to that, but it does happen towards the end of the career. And here goes Durant. He's worn all the colors in the rainbow now, kind of like the Shaq,
Yeah, Shaq made the rounds. He was on the Celtics?
Yeah.
Gosh, there were some weird teams. Phoenix, yeah. So
the Shaqtus.
Yeah, the Shaqtus, the big Shaqtus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Kevin Durant is probably chasing a championship, and if you listen to the reports, there was a short list of teams he wanted to go to. The Rockets were one of them. I think the Miami Heat were on that list. So there was a very short list of teams he wanted to go to. So yeah, he's not completely surprised. He wants to win a championship. He saw Houston as this young, up-and-coming team that maybe he could be the final piece to get them to that championship. So, yeah, that was the other big news coming out in Game 7. And it's funny we bring up Kevin Durant because, Patrick, Kevin Durant started his career as a Seattle Sonic. I remember covering an NBA preseason game, and there he was in a Seattle Sonics uniform. So that's where it all started for him. And then, of course, they became OKC. He spent some time there. They had a really great team, got to the finals, but couldn't get the job done.
People forget we drafted Westbrook and Durant.
Yeah, man. Yeah, OKC had it. And James Harden, if they could have kept that team intact, a lot of scoring at least. They would have put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
I don't know how good they would have been, but they would put up a lot of points if they would have kept that together for several years, see what would happen. But, yeah, Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. So now the Lakers, the Clippers, and, of course, your world champion Thunder. Everyone's on high alert now to see what Houston's going to do next season. And finally, Patrick, let's talk some baseball. Shohei Ohtani got another start, and just like the first one, he only went one inning, but this one was a lot more crisp, a lot sharper than that first start against the Padres. He went one inning in a 13-7 win against the Nationals, but as Shohei Ohtani has proved, it's not all about the pitching. He knocked in 5 runs yesterday against the Washington Nationals. Max Muncy actually had a couple home runs and knocked in 7 RBI. So between Muncy and Ohtani, they did most of the offensive damage in that big win against the Nats.
And then isn't it funny, a lot of people bring this up, why do you have him pitch? It's going to take away from his hitting. Well, when he does something like that, it certainly seems he can pull off the legit dual threat. God, he looked a lot more comfortable on the bump.
Yeah, and he's only going to get more comfortable, right? Because remember, someone pointed this out. I forget where I read this or heard this or saw this, but, with Ohtani, they can't send him to a rehab assignment. He can't go to the minors for a couple games and work on his pitching because they need his bat in the lineup. They can't afford to just say, hey, go, make a couple starts. So he was doing these simulated games like in the bullpen or, on his own time in between games or before games. So we don't even see the best version of Ohtani yet, at least on the mound. So he's going to need several games to kind of get back into it. And I think it was kind of wise, to make him an opener. Not a starter. He's not going to go 5, 6, 7 innings. He's an opener. He'll get his 1 inning of work, and they'll kind of, make that adjustment to get him back in the swing of things. I thought maybe they'd bring him out of the bullpen or, maybe the closer or something like that. But having him as an opener totally makes sense if you're the Dodgers.
Yeah. I mean, they need him. And Pep, I know that we only have a minute or two left with you to circle back to the NBA and especially locally with the Lakers. They sell for $10 billion. The Buss family, not getting out of it completely, but basically selling their ownership for $10 billion. That brings up the larger point of you're kind of hearing rumors of bye-bye LeBron and Bronny. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen there, but $10 billion.
Well, it's the same owner as the Dodgers, as we bring it back to the Dodgers too. And this guy has been known to spend a lot of money. I mean, look at the Dodgers. They're not afraid to spend money to build some superstar lineup. So, but if he takes over the Lakers, is he thinking, well, that LeBron window is over. It's closed. I do want to spend money, but maybe not on LeBron. Maybe we want to get a little bit younger to compete for NBA championships again. So you're right. It will be very interesting to see what LeBron's future is going to be. Maybe he retires. Maybe he goes to another team. We're going to find out.
Maybe he's on his way to Houston. Oh
my gosh.
Another super team. That's what he does. Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
As they say. Beth, make sure you tell him how to get your stuff.
Hey, get my stuff. Maybe LeBron gets his stuff too at Inland Sports. We're on X, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube too. We're open 24/7. That's Inland Sports.
Thanks, Pep.